Welcome to this week's episode of TRUUU Podcast. I'm your host, Drea.
And I'm your host, Alex.
And this week we have a very special guest. I know you guys have been hearing nonstop my sister, my friends, my this, my that. But this week we have Alex's good friend. Alex, you want to introduce him?
Yeah, so we have my really good friend. We called him back in the old days, Kurt Angle. His name is Angel. And he is a Twitch streamer. So we thought that would be a fun thing to talk about. Say hi, Angel.
Howdy, everyone. How's it going? Finally, somebody gets to break Drea's streak of only hugging all of the guests.
I know, right?
Literally. I kept on saying, I was like, Alex, you need to get like Nicole. You need to do something like.
When were you saying this, dude? I was thinking
I literally told you, and I know that I told you because you asked Nicole and she was like, yeah, well, like, just give me like, a few weeks notice and da-da-da-da. So if you ask Nicole, I know we talked about this because you talked to her about it afterwards.
Yeah, well, whatever. Anyway, so I've been thinking about asking Angel to be on the podcast for a little bit because I know that like Angel does like really cool streaming things.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like that would be a wonderful thing to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that we're gonna get into that and get into all of his fun stuff in a minute. But I think now we can start with our week updates. This is a thing that we like to do, Angel, on our podcast because I don't know, we just like to talk about how our week has gone. Because
like
this is how me and Drea really hang out anyway.
It's like a venting, like, let's just get out our annoyances of the week.
So to show Angel how it's done then, why don't you go first, Dre?
Okay. Well, this week was interesting for me. So at work, we have this thing called Havoc in the Hills, which is basically like this culminating rally in a normal school year at the end of the year where all the different grades like battle each other for like the Tri-Wizard Cup, basically. And every year, like it's like probably one of the biggest events that my school puts on. Like a lot of schools in the district come to watch it. A lot of like community members, like not even just like family members of the students or like the students, like community members will come to this event to watch it because it's just like so fun. We like deck out the entire gym like head to toe of like construction paper that like is like indicative of like the different classes. So like freshmen are yellow, sophomores are blue, like every class is given a color and like that's the color that they take with them throughout their entire year. So like if you're a freshman and you're yellow, like as a sophomore you'll still be yellow. Like you'll be yellow the entire time until you graduate and then it like cycles back.
Right.
And so like we'll have the gym super decked out. We'll have a bunch of different like games. So like we'll have like tug of war where all the classes go against each other. We'll have like what's it called? Cornhole. Like we'll have like basketball, 3-point shots, like a bunch of different like carnival games basically where like different people from the classes can participate. And then like the ultimate like culminating event is that the classes put on like a dance. So we have like a dance battle at the end where the kids literally spend like months like meeting after school for dance practice and they'll choreograph a dance and they'll like have a whole like playlist like dedicated to it. And it's like a whole thing, right?
Wait. So are the kids on campus for it this year?
So I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So in a normal school year, that's how it's done, right? And everyone's packed in the gym and it's super fun. This year, because obviously COVID, we can't necessarily do that. So instead, we were trying to do different things that were like, you can do it remotely from home this past week. So like it was kind of more like a spirit week in a way. So like every day was different competitions that you can do from home that would contribute to like your class's points to like win the end. So like, for example, on Monday, we like posted pictures of like the character, because every year there's like a theme. And so this year was like video games. And so every class had a character and we like posted pictures of the character on our Instagram. And then like whichever one got like the most points or like the most likes got like the most points, And it was going okay. Like it's not super fun because like that was the first day. The second day we had like penny wars. The third day, what did we do the third day? Oh, we had like a drawing competition. Like you had to like draw your character and post it on social media. And like the more people that like participated in it, like the more points you got, whatever. Sure. The fourth day was really fun. Actually, it was each class like constructed these like platforms, like picture opportunities. And it had like a backdrop and they had like props and it was like 3D. And it was really cool. I'll have to show you a picture later, Alex. But like the seniors, they had Mario.
Mm-hmm.
And so their backdrop was so cool. And they constructed this giant castle and they painted like trash cans green to make it like warp pipes. And it was like really cool. The juniors was also cool. They had Minecraft, like they were the creepers. So like they had a bunch of like boxy kind of like things. Like it was a whole like scenery. Like they created like a little landscape on theirs. Sophomore were Sonic. Theirs was okay. And then freshmen were Pac-Man. Theirs wasn't that good.
Much like Sonic and Pac-Man.
I like Sonic. But yeah, it wasn't that good. Like, I mean, as it should be, usually like the upperclassmen are the one that win this, as it should be. So you know, you kind of just already like, like the
So the game is rigged from the start, is what you're saying.
Okay,
They
so
get
here
the loser characters because they're younger.
No, so here's the thing. So we have 4, like in ASB, we have 4 Havoc commissioners. And so it's like one person from each grade and they like represent their grade during Havoc. And they're the ones that make decisions about everything. So it's not like the seniors get to choose and like everyone just has to follow suit. It's like all 4 of them have to agree. All 4 of them like choose their character. Like it has to just be in a line in it, like allegiance. I don't know what the right word is with your color. So like obviously like freshmen are yellow. So they're like, okay, we'll be Pac-Man, which was so stupid because they were deciding between Pac-Man and Pikachu. And they were like, Pac-Man's more relatable. And I was like,
how do you mess up that royally?
Oh my God. I was like,
so dumb.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, the freshmen are not in a place where they are going to win. Like, that decision from the start was like, you're done. Sonic, I think, is a cool choice for like blue. Like, I don't know what a better character choice that would have been.
I'm sure you could find one.
I like Sonic. Anyway, I mean, the green, like, creeper, like, Duke my boss had such an issue with it. Like, he was like, it's the stupidest character I've ever heard of. Like, it's so dumb. Da, da, da. And I'm like, I like Minecraft. So, like, I'm like, it's whatever. It's fine. It's not like maybe I wouldn't chosen it, but it was fine. And Mario is obviously like, how can you go wrong with Mario? Anyway, back to the point. So on Friday, it all like culminated to like this dance competition. And so like this year, because it's COVID, we couldn't have like community members, family members, everyone like come and like watch them in the gym. So like we instead just sectioned off this like outdoor space where only the dancing participants were able to come. And like they put on their little performances and there was judges and they like allotted them points based off like 5 different criteria or something like that. And ultimately it was super cute. Like every single dance was like actually nice. The freshmen was like, you can tell they really tried, but like they're freshmen. This is the first time they've ever done this. They don't know how to like choreograph a dance. So like it was messy, but like
so awkward.
Yeah, like
you blame that on the fact that they're freshmen, but I'm just like, is there some point when they go to South Hills that they just figure out how to do choreography? Like,
yeah,
that's like a part of their like class stuff.
Every single year we have this event, and so every year you have to work on like coming up with a dance. So like if you now have 3 years of like coming up with a dance under your belt, by your 4th year you come up with something better. You know what I mean?
Your guys' events are always the most ridiculous things I've ever heard of.
You're right. Like Alex has been to like one or 2 of our events in the past, and like they're ridiculous. Like I'm gonna hand it to you. Like they're over the top. Like I invited her to this outdoor rally we had like 2 years ago. And it was like straight on like a rave. Like we had like a rave in our quad. It was so fun though. Like it's super fun.
So what kind of public school is this, man?
Good.
I was about to say, I was like, damn, must be nice to go to a school with funding.
I know.
Well, okay, so everyone always says that. Everyone's just like, South Hills gets all the funding. And like, honestly, we actually don't, because there's three schools in our district, and the other 2 schools get like the most funding. And the only reason that like we put on all these events is because we fundraise so much.
You must have really good donorship, man, because I've seen what it's like there.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. It's just like, is this Coachella? Where am I right now?
You're right. Like, but I mean, it's all because of the leadership of my boss. Like, honestly, he's done a phenomenal job with like the program. Anyway, back to my point. So we had this competition and it was so cute. And I was watching. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the event because I had to go to Vegas, which is my next point. But I was like watching the event through Instagram Live because they were like Instagram living it.
Mm-hmm.
And like the freshmen performed. It was cute. It was fine. The sophomores went on and I was like, that was really good. Like I was like, okay, the freshmen or sophomore are gonna suck, whatever. But like the sophomores went and I was like, it was good. And then the juniors went. And so like our lead dancer for the juniors is like legitimately like a professional dancer. Like he is like next level, really good. And so like obviously it was going to be amazing. So like they went and I was like, that's really good. And then the seniors went. And here's the thing. It wasn't even so much that they had really good dancing, but they put on a show. Like it was fully like theatrical. Like they had characters, they had props. Their like music wasn't just like music, like their little like mix or whatever. It wasn't just music. It was like a bunch of sound effects. So like they had a bunch of their dancers, like they had a dancer dress up as Mario, a dancer dress up as Peach, and one dress up as Luigi. And so like they were like the leaders. And then they had like other character or other people like get cutouts of like Pac-Man, Sonic, and Creepers. And they were like holding them. And then they had like a little trophy, like the Havoc trophy, you know, the winners get it. And they had like the other characters like grabbing there. And then like Mario, Peach, and Luigi were like chasing them around. And like the little like music is going like the Mario things like, you know, like chasing them. And then like they like get away and then they warp to a different world and then they do their little dance. And then like eventually it's like this like mission to get one of the stars. And so they get the star and then they're like beating up the other characters and then they grab the trophy from them. And then it's like the little like the noise that you get at the end when you like beat a level. It's like and they made like one of those, you know, the pole that you like jump on.
The flagpole, yeah, sure.
Yeah, the flagpole. They made one of those and they like pulled it out and they're like climbing on it. And it was like so cute. Like it was so theatrical.
So what you're saying is that this turned into like the plot of one of the later on Step Up movies?
Yes. Basically.
This is like Step Up with like Smash Brothers, and these kids have like the energy that I wish I still have.
I know.
Nowadays, like, oh my god, the amount of things that they use and they must have built to do this.
Why? It's just like, why? There's so much time spent, man. I mean, I guess it's cool.
I need to show you like after we're done with the podcast because it's on like they posted it to the Instagram. So I'll screen share it with you guys and I'll show you the little dances and it's like legitimately entertaining. Like I was like really like invested and I was just like, oh my god, like this is good for you guys. Anyway, so that was just like a really, really busy week for me. And then like at the end of the week, I couldn't even like relax because Aaron coaches this girl in tennis and she was playing this tournament in Vegas and they asked him to like go out there and coach her because it's a national tournament. And they have like a timeshare out there. So they're like, we'll pay for your room. Like we'll pay for your food. Like it's no big deal. Just come out. So we're like, okay. So we go. And the first day was really fun because we got there like before they did. And like we went to this like little cantina and it was such good food and it was such good drinks. And they had, okay, so here's the thing. I've never seen this anywhere, but they had flights of drinks. You know, you can get like a beer flight or like a mimosa flight, whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
But it was a shot flight. And I was like,
Lord, wait, I saw that.
I was like, literally, where has this been all my life? Like my life specifically, like that caters to my needs specifically. And I was like, hell yes, am I getting this? And so, but here's the thing, I had already ordered a drink before I saw the flight option. And I was like, I guess I'm going to get effed up. So that was fun. I went and bought shorts from American Eagle, went home, ready for the next day. It was going to be hot as hell. Gonna put on my shorts. And I realized the guy who sold them to me never took off the security tag. I was like, oh no. So now I'm like, well, now at some point I have to go back to that dang store that's in the middle of the strip that's so busy. It took us it was a mission to get to it in the first place. On top of that, I have to go to this girl's match. It was just a lot. So the girl, ultimately, she made it to the quarterfinals of singles and then played this girl who like cheated her like crazy. Like this girl was like next level. So basically like they were in a tie break for the first, well, she was cheating, like, you know, calling balls out, whatever. Our girl like gets line judge. He watches, nothing happens. He leaves. Idiot. You're not supposed to do that. Like, especially when it's at the end of the set. So they're in a tie break and our girl's up like, I don't know, 5-2 or something like that. And so she calls a score and the girl's like, that's not the score. And she's like, and the girl's like, it's 5-2 for me. And she's like, what? She completely flipped the score. And like me and Aaron were like, Aaron was like tracking the score the whole time because he like takes notes to like coach her afterwards. And he's like, so she literally flipped the score. Our girl's like crying because like, what else do you do? Like if you're like, she's like 16, you know, like I don't know, like it was so mean. She ended up losing and like it was just so sad.
And
But
no
she
one
made
brought up that the other girl was cheating.
she did, like she got the line judge, but like the line judge was just like, it's her word against yours. And it's like, wow, this is BS. It was dumb. And then obviously like when she lost that set, she like it was frazzled and like couldn't come back the same set, you know, whatever. But she ended up going to the finals for the doubles draw, and that was good. And like it was all good. But our drive home, we left on Sunday at like 5 p.m. We got home at like 11.
Gross.
Yeah, because like the Cajon Pass was like bumper to bumper traffic.
Isn't it always though?
I hate it. It was misery. So yeah, I had a very like action-packed week. And then today I was getting yelled at by the assistant superintendent of Bassett Unified. And I was just like, what? Because her daughter needed to get cleared for cheerleading and like it was a whole thing. I mean, it was fine. She wasn't actually yelling at me. I was just being dramatic. Anyway, so that was my long week update. Let's go to you, Angel. Let's hear about your week.
My week was full of house browsing. I'm in the middle of trying to purchase a home. This will be my first like home that'll be mine, that I own, that I get to pay taxes for, and then the government can eventually steal from me when I can't afford it. Hopefully
Awesome.
in a year from now. Yeah. So spent a lot of time just kind of browsing around, talking with an agent.
Do you have a realtor? Because I know one.
Unfortunately, I imagine that's for you. But unfortunately, my father's a realtor, and we know somebody
Oh,
who's been working
nice.
with for over 20 years. So
Perfect.
we have somebody in line. So sorry about that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
I'm not being serious. You're good. I mean, I was being serious, but like, I'm not being serious.
She accepts your answer.
Yeah, you're finding ways to cope with it. It's fine. We all do what we can around these times. So a lot of that, and then just kind of been busy with a lot of work. You know, it's really funny that you asked me to come onto this to talk about Twitch streaming, because this is when I took my hiatus. So I didn't do a whole lot of the thing that you brought me on here to do, to talk about. I didn't actually do any of that for like 2 weeks straight. That was
when you said hiatus, I was thinking like a few months, like 2 weeks. Like,
oh no, I mean
nothing.
I guess we can talk about that later. But yeah, it's just like a 2 weeks hiatus that I went on just to get away from doing it for a bit, just to kind of focus on the house thing, and then also work, which has been stress and a half. It's a bunch of stuff related to Disney that I don't think I'm allowed to talk about, and so I won't. It's nothing too crazy, you know, it's not that interesting, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't like me talking about the kind of stuff that I do. So I did a lot and nothing at the same time, I suppose, is like the best way to describe how my week was. But
where are you looking for houses at? Like, where are you trying to move?
In the Inland Empire, namely just because, you know, budget, can't live in LA County. I don't know who can. Definitely not me at this time, but must be nice.
I'm like in the suburbs. I'm in like in the ghetto LA County. Don't even.
No.
But I actually heard that right now, like Riverside is like exploding in terms of like inflation for real estate. It's like the huge boom right now, right?
More or less, it's kind of like because you know everything's already expensive in LA, so everybody's going east is the way to go, and so the next part would be like Norco, Chino, Corona, and then right after that is like Riverside, and they don't stop in Chino and Corona because you only got the one freeway and it's all desert. And nobody really wants that. So where's the next trees? Oh, it's just down the way. You'd imagine they go like south is just ocean and Orange County, which is already expensive. North,
no, we don't want to go there.
North is the San Fernando Valley, which is like, you know, it's getting there, and then past that is the mountains to like Palmdale. Nobody wants to drive out there, and then going west, it's just too far out. So the only real direction we can go, short of just building island, like man-made islands off the west, like just going off of like Long Beach and Redondo, there's like everybody move to Catalina Island. That's the next proposition. Is we're going east and to go to Riverside. So that's where I'm buying something. So hopefully
nice.
It makes back its payment in 5 years, can resell it and get a nicer house. But at that point, everything's going to be even double expensive. So I'll just keep going east. I'll just keep doing that until I get my way to Arizona. I'll meet my cousin out in Arizona. He beat us to the punch. I have a cousin who recently moved that me and Alex used to work with that left California.
Broke my heart, by the way, when I heard that he moved. I'm just kind of like, excuse me, when did we approve this move?
What's his name?
This isn't allowed without a friend.
His name
is Avi. I was close. I was like,
yeah. So if he listens to this, he knows but he moved all the way out to Arizona. So he's already ahead of the rest of us, right? Like he's planning 10 years in advance. Eventually, all of this real estate will move out that way. And then he'll be
You won't find me in Arizona. Heck no, that is too hot.
Plus, they have scorpions like we have spiders.
Oh yeah, you know where else has scorpions? I'm sorry, this is a tangent. Like we can get back to your update in just a second. But my aunt, my aunt in Mexico, Alex, the one that lives on the same street as our house.
Yeah.
So I remember like one time I was sleeping over at my cousin's house there, and like I got up in the middle of the night to like go to the restroom, and where we were sleeping was like on the front of the house, and the restroom was in the back of the house.
Yeah.
And as I was crossing the hallway, I saw like scorpions on the wall, and I was like, you know what? I don't gotta pee. Just went back to bed. I didn't even address it. I just like ignored it. And then like afterwards, they're just like, oh yeah, there's like tons of scorpions here. And I was like, sick.
You know, I'm glad that you neglected that detail when I was there with you. I did not need to know that there were scorpions there, but now I can remember that for the rest of my days.
I figured that like, what's the point of telling you that? Like my grandma was like, what is it? Stabbed, poked, stung by a scorpion in my mom's house one time. Like she was like folding like towels or something in the closet, and there's a scorpion and like stung her, and she like sucked out the venom and like was fine, which I heard you're not supposed to do. I heard you're not supposed to do that, but my grandma did it and she lived. So
well, that's nice.
Anyway,
well, she spits it out, you know, you're not supposed to suck it and then like down
obviously.
like your 4-shot flight. You know, it's not like they have like the scorpions just laying up scorpions.
Okay, I'm sorry, Angel. Go back to your week update.
You know, like I said, like that's about as much. You know, it's just a lot of house moving, resting up, and getting ready to get back onto this thing and dealing with a lot of work stuff.
Right. So we'll get a little bit into the job history thing later after I give my update. So was that it, Angel? You updated us?
Hold on, let me look at my list here really quickly. Let me just browse through. Yeah, that seems about right. Yes, that's everything.
All right, so on my subject of updates, so one thing that, you know, I've been talking about the past couple of times is that lately I've gone back on the treadmill trying to lose that COVID weight. Amen. I've lost 4 pounds so far.
Woo!
So that's
congratulations.
Nice. That is awesome.
Thank you. And then on the subject of things that Drea definitely won't care about and that Angel will like 5% care about is that like, so I've been like rebuying some manga like that I originally like had sold off back in its original days. Well, no, I gave it away to a thrift store actually. And then Justin.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, and then Justin was kind of like, do you know like those things are super like exclusive now? I was like, no, I didn't, but you know, there's that. So like I really like Fruits Basket, right? So recently I bought all the collector's edition manga. However, the 5th volume was super sold out for like a month. So I finally have acquired my 5th one and have completed the set.
Nice.
Because I've been letting my sister-in-law read them because I'm getting them okay, Angel, we'll get into that later. Sorry. I'll talk about it later because I have so much I want to say about that. But anyway, so I got that, which is really exciting. Earlier last week, Drea and I got pedicures together. So like we had like a real life dealings for the first time in forever. Like actually did like a fun thing. However, we were supposed to go to Dairy Queen with our friend Eduardo, which you viewers have heard him before on this podcast. And I had been giving him flack for it for the longest time, saying like we need to go to Dairy Queen. But then the nail place gypped us and just like, hey, we didn't write down your appointment, so come back in an hour.
Yeah, it was so annoying.
So no Dairy Queen for us because I've never had like the Dairy Queen ice cream before, so that's why he wanted me to go there so badly.
But we had Robex, which was also good.
Yeah, so Robex smoothies, which were pretty good. Although the guy who was the homie who hooked us up with the coupon also like super like upselled us to like large smoothies.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I can't drink this much, man. It's too much for me.
I definitely could have if mine wasn't so banana forward.
I don't know what's wrong with you. Bananas are so good.
God, it was so awful. I was like the first sip, I was like, ah! Like I literally made that noise when I drank it.
Yeah. And the thing is that like our friend was willing to switch with her, but she's also lactose intolerant, so like she couldn't switch because of the lactose part.
Yeah, because he had dairy in his, and I was like,
So big rip for you. And
That's
then
weird.
yeah.
that's weird being lactose intolerant.
I mean, yeah, first of all, yes. Secondly, normally I feel like most of the lactose intolerant people in my life are just like, they don't care. They're like, yeah, I'm lactose intolerant. Let me eat a whole cheese pizza. Yeah, I'm lactose intolerant. Let me just down an entire milkshake
So
gone
here's the
past
thing.
that point.
without
And
taking
Here's the thing.
without
I
taking
used
the
to be,
like.
I used to be that person. I used to be the person like, yeah, just throw it on. It's no big deal. And it got to the point where it was like, if I had just the slightest bit of like dairy, I was like dying in the bathroom. So I was like, okay, maybe I should start taking medicine for it. So I started taking medicine for it. Cut to the beginning of this year, and then the medicine was like, you know what, we're just gonna shut down your digestive tract. So then now I can't take the medicine for it. So it's like I can't eat it. I can't take the medicine. I can't eat it.
So now whenever we have pizza, she just basically takes everything off the pizza and eats the bread and the toppings.
Who doesn't love breadsticks with marinara sauce?
Yeah.
Essentially, right?
Floppy bread, not even like the toasted breadsticks.
Yeah, right.
But anyway.
So the last part, so like I feel like last week I had like a really normal feeling week, like pre-COVID almost feeling week. So I went out I ate out at Red Robin with my sorority sister, Lexi, whom I love, who I haven't seen since, basically the last time I seen Angel, really. So for a while. And it's hilarious because my whole thing when I hang out with my sorority sisters is usually I end up getting sucked into something that I didn't sign up for at the beginning, which is always fine. I'm always down for it, but I never sign up for this until I'm there and they're just like, hey, want to do this thing? Usually it's like escape rooms or like movies or whatever. So like I get there and I sit down and the first thing that comes flying out of her mouth is, hey, you want to go see a horror movie with me?
Sick.
I know, right? So I'm just kind of like, I sit there just like, well, I mean, I guess I'll die. That's good. So I watched Separation with her.
What's that?
It's a horror movie that
well, I deduced.
Listen, I said that, and then you interrupted me.
Okay.
So it's basically like a horror movie centering around this like washed up comic book artist whose wife, who's trying to separate from him, ends up becoming like a vengeful spirit, and like there's a bunch of nonsense in the beginning and like throughout. But the thing is that I feel like the movie really loses focus on what it's supposed to be about, like towards the end. So like you stop getting scared and just kind of like, what is happening? I don't understand. So
I feel like that's most like horror movies.
Right.
Like a lot of the ones.
Sorry, I was going to interject about how, with a joke rather, that like Separations, it sounds like a movie about divorce. And I didn't think it actually was going to be a horror movie about divorce. It's just like, it's not even like scary or anything. It's just about this guy, the really sad trial. Like, he doesn't want to leave. Loses half of his, like,
it's literally about
It's just, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's literally about divorce. And like, even like the end, like there's a scene at the end, which I won't spoil for you guys, although I know Drea won't watch it. So there's that. But like, there's a scene at the end where it's like, the showdown with the big bad, right? And it's basically like a divorce thing still. Like it doesn't really feel like he's fighting a ghost. It feels like he's just, fighting with his wife and his kids
just
like
marital law court. Like the lawyer shows up.
Essentially, yeah. That's exactly what it feels like. But so that was kind of nice, like having that kind of normal encounter with her where she's like, hey, let's do basically the things we always used to do. I'm just kind of like, I'm not sure if I'm up for this time-wise anymore because we're old now and I need to sleep. But anyway, so that was really fun. But that's pretty much it. So we'll now move on to the bulk part of this podcast, which is interviewing Angel about the fun things. But to give some context here, so me and Angel met through work, essentially through both of our previous jobs. So we worked at Fox Studios together in the network operations and engineering department, media operations.
Fox N-E-N-O.
I know, right? It's actually really funny because the first time I met Angel was at a place called Round One in Rowland Heights before he started working at Fox. So like I first met him as Avi's cousin. Like I was there with Avi and then our friend Justin. And it's just like, hey, this is young Angel, as they like to call him back in the day. And I would say that Justin and Angel are probably equally responsible for my ridiculous addiction and obsession to anime. So, Dre, if you want to blame anyone for that sort of thing, you can blame this guy down here.
I would wholeheartedly blame Justin. He's more of like a pusher, but I'm just a supporter of bad habits. That's all.
I definitely don't like it. I think it's so funny how you always say, Alex, like, if you want to blame someone for my addiction, I legitimately like anime. It's just like you are on a next level. So it's just like I just can't keep up with you. But I enjoy anime as much as the next guy.
Anyway,
yeah, what does that mean?
Because I feel all the next guys that I know are basically on the level that I'm at, is what it is. So to me, I'm just kind of.
Here's the thing. It's not even that I want or don't want to watch anime. It's more of like just watching a new show. Because like when you got me to watch Promised Neverland, like I really like it. I really do. It's just like getting me to motivate myself to watch a new show is the problem.
Yeah, no, it's difficult because that's like a commitment,
Yeah,
it's like especially hard with TV shows because it's like if you're gonna sit down for a movie, it's like sure that's like 2 hours, and then if you watch a TV show, that could be anywhere for like a week to like a month,
and then like
depending on
Alex
how long
is just like I'm watching Naruto, and I'm like I'm not about to watch. What is that like? 100 plus episodes,
700 plus episodes.
I'm not about to commit to that.
You know what's the most amazing thing ever that you brought that up? Is that I've got my twin brother and sister-in-law watching Naruto.
Yeah, I think you told me that last time, actually.
They've gotten 70 episodes in, and they're not going to skip the filler episodes. So I'm just like, man, are you in for it?
Oh, they're the worst. Not even the filler. These people watching the fillers.
No, it's, anyway.
Because, like, back in the day, like, sure, Justin was the big pusher of that stuff. However, Angel was the one who just kind of like, all right, so you're going to watch the first episodes of all these different anime and then just choose afterwards what you'd like.
Well, you were asking for like new things to watch because you had just gotten out of like, you just finished watching Inuyasha. You're just like in a bowl of like, I don't know what to do. There's nothing else to watch. And I'm sad about having finished this like long-standing series. I'm like, okay, let's find something new that's somewhere in your wheelhouse. So that's why we started giving new suggestions.
Right. So basically, Angel, if you want an update of my life throughout quarantine, is that I became like a super weeb.
Congratulations.
I know,
I'm sorry.
Right? I know. Anyway, so like one of the cool things that I got to know about Angel when we first started working together is that even back then he was a Twitch streamer. Although I think back then you weren't doing it as much because Justin back then when he was pretending to be your manager was just like, when are you going to stream? When are you going to stream?
I know. So, the guy, like now that I'm like actually focusing more on it, doesn't even like, he's not even around. What kind of manager does it like pushes this hard and then it like dips as soon as like the career starts to take off?
I know, right? So anyway, so we'll get started into all that stuff now. So how and when did you start getting involved with streaming video games?
So I guess like my first real like interaction with this kind of stuff was way back in high school, actually. More along the lines of like I used to watch like let's play videos, which for anybody who's not familiar with let's play videos are where somebody like records themselves commentating or post commentating footage of themselves playing a game for entertainment purposes. And so I was interested in that kind of stuff. So I recorded some of the things and I had like a small channel for a while until I eventually banded it, just kind of being like cringe lol. So I moved on past that and then I was like, I'm not gonna do this again until I saw like Twitch streaming, which is kind of like in a similar vein. And I started working on that I don't even know how old my account is, like 2013 2014 maybe. And this has kind of been like an on and off thing where I was just kind of like start it up, drop it, start it up, drop it, because it is kind of like a difficult thing to commit to as both like a hobby and as a career for some people who actually like make decent amount of money or have like a large following doing this kind of stuff. So it's only until just last year, like near the fall around October, that I started taking it a little bit more seriously. Even going into January was when I started to double down and actually like set like dates and invest in like better equipment and that kind of stuff. So I've been like in and out of the game, I suppose you could say, for the longest time, but I've kept kind of a close eye on it whenever I wasn't actively working in this field.
Right. So one thing that I was kind of told about back in the day, didn't really understand, but understand a little bit more now. So what does it mean to be a Twitch affiliate? How does one get to that level? And like, is that something that like comes and goes? Like you can get it and then lose it? Like, how does that work?
So as far as I can tell, I don't think there's a way to lose it unless you do something terrible.
Mm.
But it's more or less a status of, it's like similar to being verified on Twitter, or like it's a step up from whatever your free account would be on Twitch, since anybody can kind of just make an account and just stream. Like there's nothing really keeping you from doing that. But they try and set goals for people to try and keep them invested, as well as give them additional perks for like having a following and being consistent about it. So affiliate is the first step up from your regular account. Effectively, once you get at least 100 followers, have a streaming average of about 3 people watching you daily, and have streamed for 12 days within a month, you're considered eligible to apply for affiliate. And it's still something you have to apply for and then see if they accept you. And for the most part, I don't think anybody doesn't get accepted for affiliate if you reach those requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Doing so basically gives you the ability to start getting subscribers. You know, it's kind of similar to like somebody's paying you via Patreon, or having like somebody donating money to you on a monthly basis because they enjoy your work. The ability to upload emotes, like you can make your own custom emotes that aren't already on Twitch, so that you can have like your own little community thing. And I could tell a couple of other different things. The next step past that is something that's called Twitch Partner. And that's effectively like, this is your career now if you can get to Twitch Partner. Twitch Partner is like, you need an average viewership of about 75 people watching you each time that you stream.
Oh, wow.
I think you need 500 followers. I could be wrong about that. And then have been streaming like 25 days or 25 hours, something like that. You know, you think I would know this better, but I just got to affiliate, so partners like a bit of a ways there. But it's effectively like the next step up, and then from there you get bonus perks where it's like you get like ad revenue, you have faster stream service because they start like pushing you as a priority. Sometimes you can get sponsorships from certain companies that might see you as like, oh, people actually watch you, so hey, let's like cut a deal and do something. They start pushing you more on like the front page of like the actual Twitch sites. When you go there, and like the first thing that you see on like recommended is usually the Twitch partners. And it's effectively this whole ranking shift from affiliate partnership and onward is just like I mentioned before, a goal more or less to give people something to strive for, right? It's like kind of like where you come in as a new employee and you work to get to manager to supervisor,
right?
Yada yada yada. So it's kind of like steps to get you to be consistent and get a fellowship, so that way you can be successful if this is something that you really want as a career.
Right. Well, that's pretty cool. So you said you just got to affiliate?
I got to affiliate maybe 2 months ago. So fairly recently, and that's from me actually doubling down on it, because most, like I said before, I've kind of like been on and off for it for like the longest time. And usually like after like, I wouldn't either have enough time to do it, or I would do it for a few days and then just kind of like drop off the face of the earth for months. like Andrea like kind of jokingly referred to earlier, but I actually did drop off for months at a time. So it's not until like recently that I've actually been like consistent at it, as far as like being able to stream daily, every other day, a decent amount. And that's led to me actually gaining enough following and enough viewership to have reached the affiliate for the first time. So it's very exciting. And it's kind of cool just because it's like, you know, this is the biggest kind of following that I've had for this kind of work that I've done.
So what is that following then? Like, how big is your audience here?
So right now I'm at 110 followers. I know, amazing. And I average at least like 10 viewers every time that I stream, which really seems like a small number. I know, and it's like I guess like for some people who might be doing this, and if you're interested in this and you're listening to this, like hearing numbers like 5-10 people when you can see like large streamers have like, you know, hundreds, thousands of people, it's still like a big accomplishment to have 5 or 10 people watching. Because it's kind of like, imagine like if you were sitting in a room and you had 5 or 10 of your friends in a living room watching you play a video game for so many hours a day. right? So it's like that's already a feed in. Like if you can manage that, like just in your room, but I guess you wouldn't do that during this times right now. That's illegal. If you have around like 5 or 10 people in a room with you, being able to watch you play video games, that's amazing in and of itself. So being able to achieve those kind of numbers on a stream is, crazy to me. And so just being able to like move up from there is like the next step for me personally.
And do your sorry, Alex, I had a really quick question.
Yeah.
Like, do your viewers like interact a lot with you? Like, do you feel like, are they people that know you, or is it people like randos who are just like want to be your friend? You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense as a question?
Yeah, so I guess like one easy way to have a small viewership as it starts is to like ask your friends like, hey, come watch me because support me. You're my friend. And then like it kind of like some might see it as like, oh, you're padding your numbers, but like, it's also like a way to like hang out, kind of like how you guys hang out here on Zoom and like do stuff. It's kind of the same thing where it's like, I'm gonna play a game, you guys can come watch me and we'll talk through there. And then you interacting with your friends online might make other people kind of come in and be like, hey, these guys are kind of cool. They're like talking and stuff like that. And I do have like a couple of randos that I've met that do show up consistently. Sometimes they show up and they just lurk. Lurk is the term that we use for people that come to stream every time, but they don't talk. So they're just there to support, or they're just there to watch because they don't really want to like type or chat
or anything. Yeah,
but they're still just there. And I do have like a couple of those people like show up in every now and then. And I guess like my viewership wavers because for my stream, I'm a variety streamer, which means I play a bunch of different things, whatever I'm basically feeling. So my viewership will waver depending on like what I'm playing, right? So like people who are into horror games, when I play horror games will show up, and then people who are like, they don't want to like see spooky things, so they like hop off for a bit. Or I might be playing like a big title, but some people are like, I'm not really interested in seeing this game, so they'll hop off. But people really excited for this game will show up at that time.
So that's a really good segue into the next question, Alex, if you want to ask that one.
So then what games do you currently play on your channel?
So recently I play through a couple of indie games. I'm not sure if you guys might recognize any of these. If your audience might, I'll just list them. There's like Celeste, which is like a platformer, kind of like Mario, about a girl climbing a mountain. It's a platformer game, but it also has like a story about confidence and depression and mountain climbing. So that was very fun. There's Hollow Knight, which is about a little bug fighting a bunch of other crazy bugs. It's got like this kind of like evil setting similar to Dark Souls or Metroid. We play as like a little bug instead. So that's very interesting. What I was going through this past month in anticipation for the release of the newest title in the franchise, I've been playing through every Resident Evil. So I was trying to play through Resident Evil 0. Well, we did play through Resident Evil 0, 1, Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3 remake, and then I took my hiatus because I couldn't keep up with playing through 4, 5, and 6. So when we're actually done with this, I'm gonna actually start streaming 7 for the rest of this week for, like I said, the release of 8 that comes out this Friday.
Awesome, really cool. So is there a particular game that you find that your viewers like that they come to the most? Is there a game that you stream that's most popular with your viewers, like you see the most people coming in to watch?
I say recently my spike came from when I was playing Hollow Knight and Celeste, namely because I guess like I drew that kind of audience of people who liked watching indie games. So I guess that's interesting. That's an interesting question, just because it's like, if you're looking to do this kind of stuff, or you look at other people's streams, the kind of people that those communities are built out of are usually the people who want to watch that kind of stuff. So somebody who streams like Minecraft like 5 times a week, 6 hours a day, those are all people who really, really like Minecraft, or they really like Minecraft and this person. Some people will show up for Grand Theft Auto streams, and they'll come there because they're really interested in Grand Theft Auto and watching people grief and do dumb stuff 24/7. Right. From the looks of things, from how my community is building up, it seems to be a lot of people who are interested in horror games and people who are interested in indie games, so games that aren't like major titles that you see all the time. So I get a lot of those kind of people who are into like games that aren't usually in the higher spectrum of popularity, or at least like widely recognized, so like B/C tier kind of games, or of like recognizability. That's a word, I'm sure.
Yeah, I totally understand what you mean, for sure. And it's actually funny that you say that, because the next question kind of like ties into that, in the sense of like, what does someone need to know if they want to start getting into video game streaming? Like, what are things that they should have? You know, what are things they should consider?
I would say first and foremost, if you are looking to stream, just do it. I think that's what it just do it. It's like the first thing that they should really like get it. No, because it's important, because I think like that was one of the other things that really got me to actually start like doing it, is just convincing yourself to just do it. Because I think one thing that gets in the way of a lot of people that want to get into this is that question, actually. And I know you asked it, and I can't believe you're already ruining people's careers. But no, it's just like, it's like a you know, a lot of people worry about like, oh, do I need this kind of mic, or do I need to have this kind of special equipment? Should I invest in like a $200 webcam? Do I need like a crazy rig to be able to run it? And I guess like there are like minimum specs you should be able to have.
Sure.
You know, like you need a computer that could reasonably run a game and stream at the same time before it explodes on you.
Yeah.
But for things like microphones, webcams, and all that kind of stuff, you know, get whatever you are comfortable with and whatever you can afford, because you know, so you don't really need a webcam to stream. You don't really need a crazy mic like this thing that's in front of me. You would be fine with just like a headset or just like earbuds or whatever. But as long as it's something that you really want to do and you're consistent, would be the second thing. Those would be the major things to get you started, because the second thing, consistency, is super important, because like you streaming, as a streamer, you're effectively like a interpersonal entertainer, right? Like your job, like when you're first starting off, is basically like you're trying to like relate to people in any way possible. You're always trying to like talk and say something about the game, whether it just be like, haha, that was funny, or say a joke, or just talk about what you're doing, right? Or just kind of like, okay, we're gonna go into this level, I'm gonna try and do this and such like that, and like, this is interesting, or like, how do I solve this puzzle? And just kind of like talk out loud, stream of consciousness kind of stuff, right? It's almost similar to like a podcast, but like you're speaking with other people at the same time,
right?
And the idea with that is that like doing all of that speaking is to try and make yourself relatable, so that when new people show up, they feel like they could talk to you at any given time. And so you're doing all of that while also trying to be entertaining, I guess, right? All of that piles up and effectively kind of leads you into being kind of like a TV show almost. You know, people want to like continuously like chime in because they want to like hang out with you, or they want to like see what you're going to do next. And when they do that, it kind of sets that expectation of like a TV show, like I said, you know, like they expect you to be on like, when are you going to be on next? Because that way I can plan to be there for the next time that you're on. And so having that kind of consistency is important for like setting up schedules, or if you're going to do something, like do it, setting up goals for yourself. Like, I'm going to play this game for this week, or I'm going to do, I don't know, I'm going to build a giant crazy house in Minecraft. I'm going to play every single Resident Evil game before Resident Evil 8 comes out. So again, it's like, it's being able to convince yourself to like do this a lot, and that will lead to consistency. And then if you're being consistent, the third thing, I guess, would just be being, how do I say this? Focus on a particular thing, I guess. Like focus on like either, you know, being yourself. If you're not going to be yourself and you make like a caricature, almost like you have like a stage character that you play, really focus and like commit to that. If you're going to be somebody that's like, I'm going to be like really good at this particular game, like Overwatch, League of Legends, something like that, like focus on that. If you're going to play a lot of horror games, focus on like that. So those are very like arbitrary things, and I know that didn't really answer like the technical question, because that's like a whole conversation in and of itself, I suppose. Like there's a billion different options for mics, webcams, computers,
right? Well, I feel kind of stuff. Yeah, I feel like that like answers the question well enough, though, in the sense of like anyone can do it if you're just willing to like start doing it. Like you don't need a specific mic, you don't need a specific headset, specific webcam. So I feel like that answers the question well enough.
Anyone shows that can cook.
Exactly.
I actually have a question. Okay, so my husband is always constantly telling me that I should start a Twitch channel. And here's the thing, I'm not good at video games, but he says that I should start one because like the commentary that I'm doing is like hilarious. And I'm like, I don't know if there's a niche of people that like want to watch me be awful at a video game. You know what I mean? Like, is there?
Yeah, so I guess that's the other
Yeah.
thing, right? Like again, this is falls into the whole like consistency and not really it anyone can cook. Like, it doesn't really matter if you're good at games. I think being good at games appeals to a certain audience, like anybody who's
Mhm.
coming to see someone really good at a video game will come because they want to see that. That's like people in esports, people who just casually play the game but are just good at games.
Mhm.
Speedrunners, people who get so good at a game that they can beat it in like 10 minutes or an hour or something like that. That's that whole audience. The other audience is the people who are just there just to hang out with you. They don't care if you suck at the game. They're just there to hang out. So like if you want, just play a game on easy mode, just so you can get through it.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing is that I refuse to do that. That's why, like, my husband thinks it's hilarious.
Or if you do that, just play the video game in like the hardest difficulty and then just like rage out, and that's entertaining in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like I've done that before. Like I'll play like that Celeste game I mentioned before. It's
Mhm.
incredibly difficult, and I did like there's like extra levels after you beat it that are like super frustrating, and I've like I spent one stream where I spent like 8 hours just trying to beat one level. Because that's how difficult it was, and that was like my
Right.
entire stream, and people showed up for that because they were just there to hang out and then
Mhm.
keep me entertained, and
Mhm.
while I was entertaining them, while I was struggling with this thing for several hours, and then they just saw
Mhm.
me break down and crumble into a mess of a person because of how long I was there. But so like there's an audience for that, right?
Right.
I think like a really good quote I heard a content creator make is that like whatever you want to do, again, like just go ahead and do it because there will be an audience for you
Yeah,
somewhere out there. It's
that's
just
true.
eventually it'll happen, and then it'll just grow from there. So if you just want to be bad at games and be really funny at it,
You just wanna
do
be
that.
I don't want to be bad at games. I just
So-
am.
That's okay. No, I get it.
So-
We'll say that for this podcast. It's okay.
So it's actually really funny, Andrea, that you bring that up, because like one thing that Angel's missing a little bit of context on is that Drea's birthday was recently, and her sister got her a
Happy
Nintendo Switch.
birthday. Right.
Yeah. So Drea's sister got her a Switch, which is really cool. So like she has to have some games, and I know I bought her Luigi's Mansion 3 because it was
Mhm.
like, oh, Ghosts, she loves Ghosts, this is right up her alley. And I like almost said to you, Dre, that I'm just like, we should record like you and I as you play through that game, because I imagine it'd be really funny to like hear like your reactions to all the different like game elements and whatever. So it's funny that Aaron said that, because I'm just kind of like, this would have been the perfect thing to like do, although it's not right for a podcast platform.
Yeah.
Streaming it would have been a lot funnier.
Maybe we need to expand the platform to Twitch. No, but it's funny you say that, Alex, because the other day, so okay, I'm moving through this game very, very slowly. Let me put that first out there. But the other day I was playing like one of the like early levels where you're literally just like going through the rooms to like discover little coins and stuff. Like you haven't
Yeah.
even reached a boss yet. And
Yeah.
I went into a room, and I guess I forgot that I went into a room, and I just somehow manifested there. And I literally spent like 20 minutes like freaking out because I was like, how the hell do I get out of here? Like I was like seriously like having a breakdown because like it's impossible. And I spent like 20 hours just vaporizing rats because I couldn't find a way out until I finally realized that I needed to go like down because the door was like down south. It was like a whole thing, and then I was like, okay, I'm done with this game right now. Like
I really think, Dre,
Definitely.
that maybe we can find our joint niche, like group playing horror games.
I'm like, will we? I mean, my experience with playing horror games has been like very limited. Like I played Slenderman in college
Yeah.
because all the guys like wanted me to play that. And like everyone got infinite joy out of watching me have like an asthma attack when like he got me. So I mean, in terms of the like entertainment factor, yeah. In terms of my enjoyment, no. So that's to be debated.
Anyway, moving on. So my like kind of like my personal wrap-up question for this whole thing would be, Angel, what is the weirdest Twitch channel that you've seen, or what is the weirdest broadcast that you've seen on Twitch?
I guess where to start. There's like a I guess one thing to also kind of follow up on, Drea's question about like streaming just video games. Twitch is a platform. It's owned by Amazon. And so
Bezos.
so yeah, you can get Bezos bucks off of there. And the way that they've decided to expand that whole platform has been to include other genres that aren't just video games, actually.
Right, yeah.
So if you go on Twitch, you can actually find that like a large number of the categories there are for particular games. So you'll find Mario, Call of Duty, Overwatch, poker, other kind of stuff. Yeah, if you want to go stream poker, go do that. You can do that. Yeah, you can just do that. There's chess. The chess community is crazy. They have like I think one of the top 10 categories is just IRL. It's called, I believe.
In real life.
And all it really is just people streaming themselves, just being themselves out in real life, which can be hit or miss. That'll be them like either just walking around like cities, hanging out in a restaurant, just
so
being
like
at
vlogging.
home. Yeah, they're effectively just vlogging. There's music streams where people will like, jam with their bands. They'll just be like practicing music, doing chat requests. I think like the craziest things they have now is that they have like whole DJs playing like concerts on there. Like Snoop Dogg was on there like a few years back, just smoking blunts like on stream, like while like playing like tunes and everything. There's like
Marshmallow had a concert like over COVID, right?
Yeah, I guess like I think so. I'm not sure if he was on Twitch though, but you can go like on Twitch and you'll find like a lot of people have been supplementing being able to go to raves and DJ concerts by just being on Twitch, and like a lot of like people will be like streaming themselves there performing. There's cooking streams, that's exactly what it is. They're doing that. There's eating streams. Do you want to go and like watch somebody eat or pretend to eat with somebody? That's a whole thing you can get into. There's exercise. There's ASMR to follow that up. Just people hanging out making like all the noises that people want. There's there's art streams, like I said, so that's people like digitally painting, physically painting.
Oh, that's cool. I would watch that.
Doing metallurgy, leather work, cosplay work.
So it's essentially a YouTube where you can just interact with the person as they're doing it.
Yeah, effectively. And for some people that's they don't like that. It's kind of split the community just because like it started, well, it's weird because Twitch started off as something called Justin.tv. So Justin TV, not our Justin, unfortunately. Our Justin's cool. He spells his name with an E. This one was spelled with an I. And when it started, it was basically just a platform for streaming. Like you could just go there and it was just in, yeah. So you just come in and just stream like whatever you wanted. And then it kind of got focused down into video games. And then it got big enough that Amazon purchased it. And then people started to find other things to do. Like other people started coming back to it once it blew up from video games. And then they started expanding like what you can do. I think like you can have sleeping streams where you fall asleep and people just watch you.
People are weird, man. But that's a thing. Like you can in Japan, you can like pay a penny a day to stay at like a hotel where like you basically like acknowledge that there's a waiver that like someone is like watching you sleep the entire time. Like there's a camera in the room and like it's full on like live streaming every second you're in the room. And that is so bizarre to me.
That's something else.
Would you do it? Would you do it though?
No.
For a penny to stay at a nice hotel in Japan?
How nice is the nice hotel?
I mean, let's say like decently nice, like a Holiday Inn or something.
Here's the thing. I'd feel more comfortable with that if like they had the ability to like blur my face.
I think I would do it. I'm like, as long as there's no camera in the restroom, I would do it.
That's where the line is drawn.
Because I'm like, I don't want no one watching me like poop. Like that's so weird.
Oh my god.
Like you can watch me shower, whatever. It's the pooping I have an issue with.
You're the worst.
I mean, to that end, there's that also on Twitch. That's also been a debacle, I guess. So as far as like, no.
Oh,
so no, well, okay. So like, I guess like the current trend. So like to go back to the like, what's the weirdest thing? So like I've said, there's ASMR streams, there's eating streams. Currently there is a trend of like
porn.
Not exactly. It's just basically like, very attractive women streaming on Twitch, and they're basically like, doing everything that they can to make themselves look as attractive as possible to get streamers. All they're really doing is just hanging out, saying hi, just
Oh, that's not
barely
that weird.
just doing nothing. But the where like I guess revealing outfits.
Mhm.
And I think what it's scaled up to now is them just kind of sitting in a bikini, a pool, like in a little inflatable pool indoors while streaming. And then just kind of being like, I will stay on longer if you keep subbing, which is like I said, like paying money. So they'll keep streaming as long as people keep paying money. And then like that's the whole stream.
And it's not her like doing anything. It's just her like sitting there.
She's just sitting there saying hi. They'll do things where it's like people that stream, they'll write their name on a whiteboard.
That's so
That's
weird.
it. And like,
Like,
people come because like,
like I don't know.
they want to come and watch a pretty lady, basically.
I don't know.
It's also scaled to like other men doing that too, like, be like really like buff chiseled dudes hanging out in the pool doing the same thing too.
I don't know why it's like weirder to me that it's her not doing anything versus if she's like, I don't like eating pickles or something, like something weird,
Oh,
like,
there's
I feel
also like that
makes
too.
more
Like some
sense
people
to
like,
me.
yeah, some people do things too, like they'll just eat. I don't know. It's like it's not like nothing, but I mean like they're just not really doing a whole lot, I guess.
Interesting.
They're just kind of like hanging out, like, on stream.
So when you were asking earlier if there's a viewer, like if there's a niche that you can have for your own thing, obviously there is.
Obviously there's
women sitting in the pool doing nothing.
I'm like, let's stream me playing Luigi's Mansion while sitting in a kiddie pool, Alex. We'll make the big bucks. Anyway.
But actually my motivation behind asking this particular question is because back in the day when they were first telling me about Twitch, when we were all working together, Angel, I think me and him were working like the weekend or something, and he mentioned that there is a 24-hour Bob Ross channel on Twitch.
Oh, I think I actually knew that.
Yeah, so that was like a whole thing. I forgot the reason why. It was like, I think Pat, like it came up when he passed away. And so they were like, they partnered with his estate to basically be like, we're going to air every single episode of Bob Ross. And during that time, anybody that subs or donates money, we're going to donate all of that money to his charity that supports the arts and all that kind of stuff.
Aww,
and so they did
really
that.
nice.
They did it for like a whole week, and then they finished. And then they're like, okay, guys, we're done. Bye. But people were like, no, bring it back. I want to keep watching Bob Ross. And they were like, all right, let's do it again. And then they did it the second week, did the same thing, finished. All right, guys, bye. No, we want it again. All right, let's do it again. And then they get it the third week until they were like, all right, forget it. We're just going to leave it on 24 hours, always running. You can just come watch Bob Ross whenever you want. If you guys donate money, all that money goes to the charity.
That's sick.
And so there's just a 24-hour Bob Ross channel that you can go on Twitch and watch. And that kind of sparked like other things similar to that. So I think Cooking Channel was also had a sister channel where it was basically like cooking shows were also on there, like really old, memorable cooking shows that I didn't recognize, but other people were interested in. And they did the same thing with 24 hours, this cooking channel on there. And other things like that. And they did like other things that kind of like had its own trend too for a while. It was just kind of like the every single episode of this show. And so they did like every single episode of Power Rangers, every single episode of Star Trek, every single episode of Doctor Who, anything that was, as long as they got like the legal rights to it from the publishers for it. But that was its own trend. There was also I think we didn't really talk about, but there's also this thing called Twitch Plays, which is basically like they put a game on, nobody talks or anything like that, but somebody basically made a program where it takes inputs from the chat and then it controls the game that way. So if somebody in the game, somebody in chat writes up, then the character will walk up. If they type down, they'll walk down. If they press A, they'll push the A button, do whatever the A button is. The biggest example of this is something called Twitch Plays Pokemon, where they basically beat the entire game of Pokemon just from commands from chat, and chat had like 100,000 people watching it. So that's 100,000 different like things going on at once. So that's 100,000 people basically wrestling control over Ash, like walking around in like Pokemon Red, trying to beat the game. And they did it too after like a month.
That's so funny.
And like it was just on 24 hours, so people would like take shifts moving back and forth and be like, oh, we can do this, we just got to get through Pallet Town, or we can get through Viridian City and all that kind of stuff until
that's so cool.
It's fallen off now because like the trends died out, but still
cool that it existed at any point. But anyway,
So that's my last question. Dre, do you have any more questions?
Not exactly right now. I feel like Angel did a really good job of like giving us the breakdown. What is
I know,
Twitch?
right?
How to become a Twitcher? What's the word?
I guess it's just a streamer.
How to become a streamer, excuse me.
Yeah.
I guess he didn't teach me everything. But no, that was really great. And then obviously like we need to have him on the podcast again to like fill us in when he becomes a Twitch partnership or whatever it's called.
A partner.
A
No,
partner,
sure, we'll
Twitch partner.
circle back in like a few years then.
Anyway, but Angel, why don't you plug your channel to our listeners?
Sure. So if you're interested in my content specifically, you can find me at twitch.tv/radio prime is the name. That's radio as in where you're probably listening to this, and prime as in Bezobucks. You can also find me on Twitter at _radio prime, on Instagram at the radio prime, and I'm also on YouTube where I make YouTube content out of my Twitch streams and other recordings that I do offline at Radio Prime on YouTube.
Sick. Thanks,
Awesome.
Angel. That was really fun. And I'm so glad that like I got to see you. I know Alex was so excited to see you, but I only saw you like once. So I'm like, it's so nice to see you again.
Yeah, no, this is fun. And thanks for having me on here. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this and see you guys as well.
Yay.
All right.
So awesome.
See you guys next time.
Peace.